Today, we're talking about something I see a lot in the spiritual community, but I don't always hear people addressing it directly. And that is spiritual bypassing instead of protecting yourself. Specifically, I'm talking about the belief that I don't need to do protection work because my ancestors got me or God will protect me. And it might sound good, but at the end of the day, it is spiritual bypassing and we need to talk about it. Hey Moonbeams, welcome back to Cosmosis or Whateva with me, your host, Celia Marie 1243, aka Celia the Spirit Guide Whisperer. I'm your friendly neighborhood psychic, tarot reader, ancestral energy healer, and spiritual mentor. Around here, we're all about the honest, grounded exploration of self-improvement, spirituality, and living as an intuitive person. Welcome to season 2, episode 2. After a long hiatus, we are getting back into the Cosmosis. The name Cosmosis actually comes from the belief that everything in the entire universe is connected. And through that connection, we are learning, we heal, and we remember who we are. So we're diving deeper into that and more consistently this season. If that speaks to you, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a download. And if you guys have been here for a while and you haven't had a chance to rate the show yet, I would love it if you took a second to do that. It helps more folks to find us and grow with us. So let's stop spiritually bypassing in the name of protection. Shall we? For those who don't know what spiritual bypassing is, it's pretty much using spiritual beliefs or practices to avoid facing our uncomfortable emotions, our wounds, or like real world responsibilities. And we can get into that in a separate episode, like what it actually is and what it looks like. But I wanted to focus on missing protection through spiritual bypassing. And look, I'm not knocking faith, right? I truly believe that you should trust that your spirit team and ancestors are there for you and that they're protecting you. I believe that you should believe God, the universe, source, spirit, whatever you refer to it as, has your back. But if you think that means that you don't have to do anything on your end, that is not faith. That feels more like avoidance, and that is spiritual bypassing. So let me tell you what sparked this episode. The other day, I posted a reel about signs of monitoring spirits in my series about evil eye. So I'm covering what to look for, how to protect yourself, stuff like that. And I'm talking about these entities called monitoring spirits that watch you drain your energy. And someone commented, return to sender, period. Which, valid, but I replied back and said, what about protection though? And they hit me with, my protection is my ancestors who don't play about me, with a shrug emoji. And listen, I love that for you, but it's also giving spiritual avoidance. Right? I'm a spiritual mentor. I don't have to be everyone's spiritual mentor, but I have heard a very similar sentiment from a lot of my mentees, or I've just heard it floating around in the spiritual community. Anytime my clients, students, mentees say something like this, all of them have received some type of strong reply from their spirit team. And so as a disclaimer, this person doesn't know me like that. They follow me, but I've never had a reading with them that I remember. They have their own practice. That's fine. But what I heard from that comment and comments like it is that I don't have to do anything. My spirits will just do it all for me. And that's where I lovingly say, and holding your hand as I do it, no, babe, that is not how this works. Okay. And that is when a classic story popped into my head. You might know this story. Jaden Smith's character tells it at the end of the movie Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, right? So a man is drowning in an ocean and he prays to God to save him. And a boat comes by and they say, "Sir, get in the boat." And he goes, "No, thank you. God will save me." And then another boat, same thing. Can we help you, sir? Get in the boat. And he says, no, thank you. And he insists that God will save him. Then the man drowns. And when he gets to heaven, he's yelling at God like, God, why didn't you save me? And God goes, I sent you 2 big boats, you dummy. And that is what some of us look like out here. Praying for protection, asking your ancestors for help, saying your affirmations, I'm divinely protected. But when your intuition nudges you to cleanse, when a reel telling you to make sure that you're also doing protection after you cleanse shows up on your feed, you ignore it and say, oh, my ancestors got it. Your own intuition is one of the greatest forms of protection you have. Even with the most lethal spirit team in the world, there is only so much they can do if you're not even showing up for yourself and your own energy. The nudges, the spiritual bath idea that you thought to take, but you didn't, that's one of your boats. The rituals you don't think you need, they are the boats. Okay. I also want to be clear, though, that this is not fear-mongering, because protection is not about fear. It's not about being paranoid. It's about being prepared. I always say that. I am not saying this to scare you. I am saying this to prepare you. It is about being conscious, right? Being responsible for your own energy. If your ancestors are backing you, even if you are divinely guided, you still have to participate in taking care of your own energy. Just like you still brush your teeth, even though you have a dentist, spiritual hygiene is that same way, right? Just like the story, God says he will help you. Yeah, God will help you, but you got to help yourself too, and you have to get in the boat. Right? You've got to cleanse. You have got to seal the energy. You've got to protect your energy, friend. Yes, you are loved, but also you are visible. You're not invisible, especially if you are one of my spiritually gifted, creative, healing, teaching, or energetically shining people. Right? That visibility makes you a light in the dark. And we all know that light attracts everything. It attracts more light. It also attracts bugs, the icky stuff. Right? So what are some ways that you can start protecting your energy right now, even if it's just small steps? Let me give you a few things that you can implement for protecting your energy today. And of course, this is after you have banished, cleansed, and done your grounding. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a bunch of episodes on the previous season of the podcast on why that order matters so much and how to do each of those steps. If you guys want more content on that, please let me know, because we need to get into it. We're in one of those seasons, one of those chapters in the world where spiritual hygiene is so necessary. And I know I've talked about that on other episodes of the podcast as well. Re-listen to them if you need to. All right. So as for protection, some small things that you can do that will make a difference. Speaking your boundaries out loud. Starting your day with simple things like maybe saying only energy that is aligned is allowed in my space. I am protected, and saying it with intention, because that really matters. You could also do cleansing washes, spiritual baths. Y'all know I love a good spiritual bath. You can use herbs like rosemary, bay leaf. You could use salt to clear stagnant energy or lingering energy. And if you don't know where to start taking spiritual baths, I highly recommend I don't even know what that was. I highly recommend my ebook, Healing Waters. I published it a while ago, last year, but it has some really good information. It has everything that you need to get started with spiritual baths if you don't know where to start. It has step-by-step directions, and it has multiple beginner-friendly recipes. Highly recommend spiritual baths. If you don't know about spiritual baths and what they can do to help, also have a podcast episode on that. We be talking about a lot of this stuff. right? Something else you can do, light a protective candle, right? Bless a white candle or a black candle, whatever color you got with your intention, and ask your guides to seal your space with protection. We actually just did a candle magic class last month, and that class replay is actually going to be available soon if you guys need that. Something else you can do, daily energy shielding. I do this, it's helpful, and it does make a difference. When I recommend this to my students, they report back to me and say that it definitely makes a difference. So you can veil or you can shield by visualizing a light around your body, right? So you can do it, especially if you're a visual person, this is really helpful. But you can visualize a gold light or a white light or black, or even, I have even visualized fire or whatever your favorite element is around you in like a force field and acting like an armor for your aura. Okay, so those are just some small shifts that can make a really big difference when it comes to protecting your energy. If you are experiencing evil eye symptoms, if your energy feels really heavy, protection is not your first step. Keep in mind, banishing, cleansing, grounding, those are what you go to first. Consistency is important when it comes to spiritual hygiene, energy hygiene. And, even when you're staying consistent, sometimes you need a little more than just, doing those things every day too. Just like with the dentist, even though you brush your teeth every day, you get a deep cleaning every once in a while, right? So if you're thinking while you're listening to this, okay, so I have just been winging it with my energy. It feels heavy. I feel tired. I feel like somebody's watching me. Let me tell you, now is the time to shift that energy, especially for those of you who know you are meant to be stepping into the spotlight, sharing your gifts with the world, not just your spiritual gifts, any gifts, singing, writing, teaching, creating, right? It's time to make the shift and protect your energy so that you can do those things with confidence. So because that is like a general consensus that we have going around in the collective right now, I am hosting for this month's new moon event a protection and cleansing ritual. It is a Lion's Guard protection ritual for the Leo new moon, and it's not just going to be about sending the negative energy back to where it came from. We are also focusing on fortifying your auric field. So calling your power back, sealing your energy so you're not leaking any energy anywhere or absorbing anything that's not yours, including evil eye, right? So whether you're feeling drained, watched, or just feeling off and heavy, this ritual is designed to help you clear your energy, to help you hold your energy with intention so that you can feel courageous and do what you need to do. Do what you were born to do in this lifetime, and that you can level up peacefully. This is especially for my people who have eyes on them, whether it's your family, people on social media, whatever. So there's a full option of the ritual with a cleansing, a protection spell, comes with a spiritual bath recipe and a YouTube live where we're doing a meditation and a reading. Or if you just want to put your name on the petition and receive the energy, that's also an option too. The link to that is going to be in my show notes. If you're on my YouTube, not YouTube, sorry. I feel like that was a message for me to get back on YouTube. If you are on my Instagram or TikTok, it is also linked in my bio. It's in my link tree. Okay, so if your spirit is already nudging you to join that, this could be a boat for you, my friends. Like, don't miss your boat if you feel like it's the one that you're supposed to be on, that your spirit guides are literally sending you. I think it's going to be a really good ritual. We've had some Archangel Michael protection rituals in the past, and that was good. We are working with Sekhmet, who is an Egyptian goddess this time. She actually came through and was like, I need to help y'all with this, which is really cool. And we'll talk more about that in the live on YouTube. Okay. You know what? Another thing that I want to talk about too, though, real quick, before I let you go, who told us that being spiritually gifted makes us invincible? I mean, I know that we are chosen, we are gifted, but it does not make us invincible. We are divine, yes, but we are still very much humans. And I think when we get to this place where we are so wrapped up in I'm divinely protected and making that be the only way that we are protected, or like throwing common sense out the window or spiritual hygiene out the window, that is the spiritual bypassing piece that a lot of people come across at some point in their journey, right? That's like saying, I don't need to lock my doors because I live in a safe neighborhood. Like, it sounds good, but that's only until somebody walks in your house or, steals your car. And I know some people think that rituals and candles and prayers and charms and things like that are just aesthetics. But on this side of the spiritual street, in this side of the internets, those things are hygiene. They're done with intention. They are boundaries. They are where we infuse our energy to amplify our power, is what I'll say. Rituals done with intention are how you say, I am taking responsibility for my energy. I co-create with my guides. I don't just rely on them to do everything. That is you saying, I actively choose to stay spiritually grounded. And so when someone tells me that they don't need protection because they're automatically protected, and their ancestors will usually show up and they'll say, yeah, we're doing what we can, but can you help us out? Like, can you help us, please? Right? Protection, rituals, I think a lot of times they can feel extra for people. And as an ADHD girly, and also I think I have autism, that's a whole other topic. But as an ADHD girly with very limited spoons per day, I get it. It can seem extra. But I also had to learn the hard way that being aligned isn't enough, right? Maybe not being aligned, but being this divine being with divine guidance isn't enough, especially if you aren't listening to it, right? Early on, I used to think that I didn't need spells or rituals either. I think I can admit to a certain amount of arrogance, if I'm being honest, taking accountability there. I knew that my ancestors had me. I had started connecting with them. They were very protective of me. But then I feel like if I think about it, shortly after I had that thought where like, oh, like I don't need to do any of those extra things. Like my ancestors are protecting me. That's when I started getting hit left and right with spiritual attacks. I was being like psychically overloaded. I was burning out. And that is really what made me realize I have to work with my spirit team. I remember one time my spirit team literally yelled at me. They were like, girl, do you not see us working hard to protect you? And you are just sitting there. Do something to protect yourself. And that's actually how I got into doing protection magic. If you guys want to hear more about that, let me know. Some of you guys might have been there and heard me tell the story closer to when it actually happened. But it's kind of like being a little kid getting jumped on the playground, right? And your big sister comes through and they're swinging on people, but you just stand there and you're like, oh yeah, she got it. Or you run away like, well, my big sister's going to protect me. No. And since you listening to this, since you are spiritually gifted, reminder that you are more sensitive. That's not a bad thing. It doesn't have to be if you're taking care of your energy. You are naturally more open energetically. You are more magnetic energetically. You attract a lot. Everything, the good and the nonsense, unfortunately. But again, that doesn't have to be something bad if you're keeping up with what you need to keep up with, your spiritual hygiene, your energy hygiene. Your ancestors, your spirit team, they do want to help you. I get messages from people's ancestors constantly. I'm telling you, they're always like, we're trying, but we need them to do something for themselves too, right? You are your ancestors' prayers answered. And I want you to try this. Think of protecting yourself as another way to honor your ancestors, right? So you mean they did all that work and went through whatever they went through back in their day for you to be here and just depend on them to get you through it? Okay. And if you want more about, honoring your ancestors, we talked about that in the last episode. So the next time you find yourself thinking, I don't need to do protection, my spirit team has it. Or if I don't believe in negativity, then there's no way it can hurt me. I want you to ask yourself, am I ignoring the boat that is here to help me? And if you already got that boat all up in your face, like group protection rituals that are literally here to help you, or an idea you get that you need to take a spiritual bath, are you getting in those boats that your team is sending you? Okay, think about it. If this hit and you are ready to start holding your energy with more intention, check the link in the show notes. Join us for the protection ritual. I'm excited to see what comes of it and all of the beautiful courage and visibility that comes from feeling safe and protected as you do so. And I want you to remember, moonbeams, spiritual protection is not about paranoia. It is about power. And when you protect your energy, you are also protecting your purpose, what you came here to this life to do. Okay, it is all connected. That is Cosmosis. Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay clear, stay grounded, stay protected, moonbeams. Drink your water. Okay, love you. Bye.